You do blockchain consulting at Fungible Strategy, right? So whenever we think of consultants, we are thinking about people, Bain, McKinsey, and suits. Like, being a young entrepreneur, does it hurt you or help you in other way?
So first of all, I have a beard. I'm kidding, but it's true. It's a real question.
What if I told you that it's possible to learn from free online courses and build not just one, but multiple successful ventures around it? And what if I told you that you can help other companies generate millions of dollars in sales revenue? And the most impressive part, what if I told you that all of this can be possible at the age of just 22 years old? Our guest today, Enzo Soyer, has achieved all of this and more while doing his BBA from ESSEC Business School. We'll be diving deeper into the world of blockchain and how people like us who are not tech savvy can capitalize upon this opportunity. Enzo will be offering advice to young entrepreneurs who are interested in the blockchain industry. So make sure that you stay till the end and you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so.
Okay, so can you take a moment to introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us a bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay, that's very broad. Hello, everyone. So my name is Enzo Soyer. I'm actually a last year student in the BBA program at ESSEC, so bachelor degree, and I'm soon going to join the specialized master Centrale ESSEC Entrepreneurial, so like a double degree between ESSEC Business School and Centrale Supélec Engineering School. I'm also an entrepreneur, and the specialized master in entrepreneurship. I've funded multiple projects, and especially two that I'm currently really active in, which are one called Tenk, which is a development studio, and another called Fungible Strategy, a consulting firm. So yeah.
Amazing. Can you tell me a little bit more about your entrepreneurial journey from the beginning itself? So how you started?
I was a BBA second year, so it's a 4-year program. That was my second year. I was doing an entrepreneurship class, and we had to find an issue, a problem that wasn't solved, something that we would like to create a business with. And so I ended up creating Old Ski. So Old Ski was just an idea of kind of Uberization of, I would say, the overall process for going to ski, basically. So going to ski for vacation. So you could basically book your accommodation, you could book your ski pass, you could book your ski accessories. Everything could be booked on one simple website or application. So that was my project for this class. And at the end of this class, I was like, but it's actually a real problem. So why not just push it and see if we can create a business out of it? And so that's what I did with the people that were at the time in my group. And so I found other people, developer, and we started building Allski, which was like my first entrepreneurship endeavor. And that's how it all started. I eventually decided not to continue this project because we made one mistake, a huge mistake, which was to misinterpret the relationship that we had with like a big actor in the ski industry in France. And so basically this ski actor decided to copy our idea when we presented it. And that's always an issue when you have like few budgets. I mean, you have an amazing idea, but if you end up with someone that is very interested, but has the budget and the means to do it without you, because, well, that's how it is. I mean, sometimes you have an idea, but it's so easy to execute that everyone can do it. And so they decided to reproduce it. And yeah, I just left the project. Some of my old team members continued to do so. So the project still exists today. And I actually assisted them getting funded for blockchain projects because they had the blockchain side of their business built afterwards. But yeah, it was my first entrepreneurship endeavor.
Was this your first instance? Like, were you using blockchain or any other technologies? Or
not really. No. It's It's an interesting story because like that was my first entrepreneurship experience, but it was definitely not blockchain related yet. Okay. It's just that like 3 years after, I came back to them and I said, hey, you're doing that, I can help you. Because that was like my first baby, you know? So I wanted to help them and that's what I did. But this was not how I started my blockchain journey. This is very different. Maybe you want me to tell you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Sure. So, Well, it's actually not an interesting story as well. I mean, it's very basic. It's just that for me, I always find inspiration into classes that I take and the teachers that I have, and the speakers that I see. And so basically, for me, blockchain was like an interesting topic from 2018. I was just looking at all of these people potentially making money or losing a lot of money. So I was like looking sideways. But what really made me join the blockchain world was when I was doing an exchange at Copenhagen Business School. I was taking a class for digital transformation, and I had an amazing teacher who was like, during every class, he was putting a word about blockchain and how what he was saying could evolve into something different thanks to blockchain technologies. And, at the end of the class, I was like, okay, but it seems that the way you explain it, blockchain can actually change everything in your business. And so I figured I need to know more. And that's actually when COVID happened. So I had to do like the rest of the classes during the semester. I mean, most of the classes during the semester online. And so I was like, okay, when you are doing an exchange semester, you have more free time. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
When there is COVID and you have to make classes at home, you have even more free time. So I was like, okay, yes, that's the perfect time to learn new stuff. And so I just went on Coursera, this online course website, and I just found an amazing course, which was called Blockchain Revolution by INSEAD. So it's not just a course, it's like a specialization made of 4 different courses. You start from a very beginner level, like someone who does not know anything about blockchain technologies, to I would say an intermediate level where you have to create a business model as like blockchain business model as like a final assignment. And so that's how I did it. So within like this semester, almost all online, I was doing this class at home, and I was like, okay, it's very interesting. I really went deep into all of the blockchain technologies topics. And at the end of the specialization, well, I got the paper, which is interesting, but that's all. But what is very cool is that I was like, okay, this stuff actually already applies in the world that I live in. And so I just realized that there were some companies around me that were using blockchain technologies without me noticing. And one was not further than just my phone. I went on my phone, and the browser that I was using, called Brave, was actually using blockchain technologies with their basic attention token. So just to summarize, Brave is a browser that I would say gives money to users for the ads that they see. So these are non-targeted ads, and so they get compensation in the BATS, so the basic attention token, the cryptocurrency of this project. And I was like, okay, I was already earning some crypto without knowing. Okay, but now I know. And so Brave was the first project that I was really paying attention. So I was just navigating through their Reddits, different social media posts, and one day, so it's like this story that goes and goes. One day I was on Reddit, and they posted something about recruiting ambassadors all around the world. It was the beginning of the initiative, and I was like, yes, it's interesting. I mean, I know about it. That's how I realized the first like blockchain application around me. So I'm gonna apply. And to be fair, it was probably like the major step in my life. Like I don't know, pivots in everything that I was doing. I did not realize it at that time, but I can tell you now, if I did not do that, I would not be here, really. So I sent the application, which was a very long form. So I was fairly motivated. I became an ambassador, the first French ambassador. And it was the beginning of the initiative, the ambassador program, everything was to be built. And so I took some responsibilities. I sent messages to the Brave team, the marketing team, the communication team, saying, okay, guys, I want to be involved. How can I do it? And they were like, yes, if you want to be involved, we need to create a Discord server with all the ambassadors around the world. And I said, yes, that's something I can do. So I created the Discord server. I was the administrator of the server. I like arranged all of the Discord stuff and all. And I think that's how I stood up. Maybe just being the administrator of the server. I was very close to other ambassadors because of that, because when there was something to be discussed, they came to me. And just that like this, I met very interesting ambassadors. And one day, one of them told me, okay, Enzo, you did a great job as a brave ambassador. I'm not just an ambassador from the US because that's where he came from. I'm also working actually in a blockchain company. I've been very involved, and I would like you to join me to create a project on Near Protocol of blockchain.
Okay. So before we move with
Sorry, it can go on because it's like a very
it's kind of interesting, and I would love to hear more about it. But before I move forward with it, because you have ventures in blockchain, so for listeners who are not the tech savvy or people like maybe like me who don't know what blockchain is, can you explain me, like maybe I'm a 10-year-old or something like that, like what blockchain is?
Okay, it's interesting. It's true, but it's very difficult. How can I say it to 10-year-olds? Because I could tell you that blockchain, I mean, the way blockchain is right now is like the internet that we wanted to create in the 80s, 70s, but we did not have the computational power to do it.
Okay.
So that would be the explanation, but not to a 10-year-old for sure.
Okay. So say like, for example, for any person who's involved in day-to-day activities, doesn't know anything or is not up to date about tech, why does blockchain matter to me?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what you're doing, but obviously, I think the main point with blockchain is about the getting rid of intermediaries, basically. It's like right now, for many activities around the world, when you're a professional, you work at a bank, you are an individual that wants to buy a house, you always need an intermediary to do something. The bank can be an intermediary when you want to take a loan. I don't know, you need an intermediary if you want to buy a house. There are many situations where you need an intermediary, and the blockchain can be this intermediary. But it's like the blockchain will replace it, and there is no point of like signing papers. You don't need this intermediary to be a person, and that changes everything. Well, some people may say, okay, but it's going to destroy jobs, for instance, because you don't need this intermediary anymore. And I'm going to say, but it's a revolution. So people have to adapt. Maybe a job today will have to change to evolve into something else. But it's probably the most important point is the getting rid of intermediaries, because intermediaries per definition are not really necessary. You know, it's just that we needed someone to be there to watch what was done, but now we don't anymore.
So let me simplify that. For example, if I want to buy a house in France right now, I need to go to a broker, and then they hook me up with some party or something where I see the houses, and based on that broker acts like an intermediary, and he helps me get the house, and vice versa. He also helps the seller of the house as well.
Exactly. So he gets a commission.
Oh yeah, exactly. So are we saying that, okay, if we remove this broker and we are dealing directly with the client, it saves me and him money in terms of commissions?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, commissions, and also the I would say the registry of the act, because when it is done on blockchain, it is there forever, and it's also a big part of blockchain community is that once the information is on the blockchain, it cannot be removed. Okay, so it's very important to mention that. Because it means that, you know, it's funny because there are many industries, and I think the house example is a good one. There are many industries where in 10 years, if you start looking for papers of past actions, it's going to be very difficult. Even though it was on a server, or if it was just a written paper, it's going to be very difficult because of the way people manage the information. But if it is on a blockchain, you can track it easily, and that it's very important. And then there is another aspect of blockchain which matters as well, is decentralization, obviously, because that's actually what I said before. But like the internet as we have it today is not the internet as we wanted it at the beginning. We wanted something decentralized, but we could not. Now we do, and decentralization also means that we cannot censor the information, which gives access to people around the world to the information without like the Great Firewall of China or whatever you want. So it's a very important point as well.
So that was all about blockchain. Now, we were talking about this instance where you were a student ambassador at Brave. So after being like an ambassador, was it before that you took courses on blockchain?
Yeah, it was before. Yeah.
It was before that. Okay, so what happened after that? Like, how did the story?
Yeah, so the course,
Hmm.
I mean, the class first at Copenhagen Business School,
Okay.
the course on Coursera, Blockchain Revolution, being an ambassador at Brave, getting in touch with this US ambassador that told me, okay, you're doing a great job. I want to work with you. And then I started building one of my projects I'm currently very involved in, Tenk. So Tenk Studio has developed different solutions. And I think its first well-known solution that gave us credibility is the open source code for launching NFT generative collections on your protocol.
Okay.
So NFTs, so non-fungible tokens, usually people know them as digital collectibles. We build the codes, but projects that want to use it, they don't necessarily have the developers to do so, or maybe they just want, I don't know, to build something on top of it, a new utility that is not there, and they come to us to do it. And so that way, we assisted more than 30 projects to launch their NFT collections on year. I think they sold for an average of 4.6 million primary sales plus secondary sales.
So 1.6 million in
4.6 million, yeah, in sales.
in sales. Okay.
Yeah, primary sales are the first time an NFT is sold,
Okay.
and secondary sales is like sold on secondary markets, and we get royalties out of it.
Okay.
So it's 4.6 million is a mix of both of this data. Okay, it's actually a big number, and we were taking a percentage on this number. But then we focus more on metaverse projects, or I hope one day maybe projects that focus more on like video games, because for me, one of the biggest utility for NFTs or video games, I always use one example. It's like Fortnite. If you were to use NFTs on Fortnite, I can tell you that will be amazing. Like all of these people are using, I think it's V-Bucks to buy like skins that they can never reuse or they can never sell. Like it's like lost money. But if it was to be an NFT, they could resell it easily, and then it creates a real market. And it's interesting because it means that you're not losing necessarily money. You may even be investing, you could say, even though it's not real investment, but you could be at least able to sell it. And if it is rare, then maybe you can make money out of it. But it should not be the objective, obviously.
Yeah. Honestly, I never got it in the beginning because I have like a younger brother who's like 12 or 13.
Mhm.
So in India, even we had this game PUBG, a pretty interesting game where you can basically connect with your friends and you enter this virtual world where you compete with other teams.
It's like a Counter-Strike.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
There has been Counter-Strike and games like that, but it was one such game where that could be played on phone. So that is why it had a huge market, because in India, not everyone say has an Xbox or even like a gaming PC or something like that, but everyone has a phone, and even if your phone is has a decent memory, it would still run on that.
Okay.
And I never got that he used to buy these skins. I was like, that's so ridiculous. Why do you want to look a certain way in just a game with playing with people you don't even know? But then I thought about it from a perspective that, okay, for example, Pokemon cards and things like that have always been there. And I think it's kind of people like to use it as a status symbol. For example, people had Pokemon cards, then people had amazing cars and houses and things like that to show off that, okay, I'm rich, I'm wealthy, and we are simply shifting towards a revolution where people basically use these skins or things like that, or like you said, collectibles, to kind of show their status as a status.
I think it's a very interesting example because I did not see it that way because I did not understand why people were buying skins, because for me, as it is right now, without NFTs, people are losing money when they buy it.
Exactly.
But I do agree that, I mean, when I was younger, I was buying Pokemon cards.
True.
And maybe it's just the way the world is evolving. People don't buy Pokemon cards anymore, even though it's different for Pokemon cards because there is a big fan base.
Yeah.
But we could say that for that kind of things, people don't buy them anymore or less, and go more into the digital world where they can buy things to show off, basically.
Okay.
But it's I think it's still a bit different because Pokemon cards, you could trade them, right? You could go see your friend and trade them, and you cannot do it with skins now, but you can do it with NFTs. And maybe it's just an adaptation. It's a evolutionary step where people move from Pokemon cards to skins that, well, they cannot resell. But the logical step to mimic the Pokemon cards is to be able to trade as well the skins, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like a logical step in that situation. And for me, it has to go with NFTs. And I think it's actually very interesting because when you think about it, like you said that your brother was playing this game. Okay, interesting. But then maybe one day it will decide to totally stop playing this game and go on another game. But right now, if it does that, he loses everything that he has on the first game. Whereas if he had the ability to resell what he bought first, then he could just take the money out and just buy new skins on this new game. And I think it's even better because like you don't feel that you have to stay on one specific game. And I think people like lobbying for video games could say yes, but then this situation pushes people to stay on a platform rather than another, on a game rather than another. And I understand, but when you think about it, you have to look at the advantages of being able to resell NFTs as well. Like for NFTs, if people are able to resell them, the game gets royalties every time it is sold, right? And so I don't have the numbers in mind, but I do believe that on the lifespan of a skin, of a collectible, you will earn more money with the resales than you would have done just keeping this person stuck on a platform.
You also have like another venture in Fungible Strategy.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. So it's interesting. So Fungible Strategy is a consulting firm, and it's like, I think it comes directly from my experience with Tenk. So I told you before that for open source code at Tenk, I assisted more than 30 projects, right? There were lots of interesting blockchain projects made mostly of teams of only developers, actually. But these projects, they did not have necessarily the business vision. Okay. And so looking at this perspective, I was like, okay, I need to create an additional service that helps developer teams, projects to have this business vision. Now it's a simple process. Projects come to me, I go through their business model, technical solutions, and I just give them advice. I push them into some directions because I'm not a developer myself, but I spend so many time in developer meetings that I have this understanding between what the tech is and what the business needs to be. And so I can really guide them into, okay, you want to go with this solution. It's a technical solution. It's a very interesting one, but it's not the easiest way if you want to integrate it with a viable business model, basically. And so that's what I do. And then if I consider that the business model is very, very clean, I just push them to get funds from blockchain foundations. And simply I get a percentage on the amounts raised. But yeah, I have a big portfolio of 90 blockchain foundations to which I can guide my clients. And I think it's very important to mention that before going into diluting solutions such as business angels, VC funds, blockchain projects need to go to these blockchain foundations first because they give good grants. And that is like free money to develop on the ecosystem. And they should do it because if they don't, it's a shame. I mean, just imagine if you get like 75K. Thanks to that, you're able to build maybe just an MVP or even the final solution. And when you have this final solution, it's way easier to have like a negotiation leverage with investors so that you don't lose too much equity.
Yeah. So these grants are like equity free. They don't.
Yeah, most of them. Actually, if it is called a grant, it has to be equity free.
Yeah.
But sometimes foundations will be like, it's a very interesting project, and they will be very interested in this project, and they will tell you, can we also get equity somehow? We give you a bigger amount. So, I mean, that's up to you to really negotiate how it works. But if it is a grant program that you're applying to, it has to be equity free. But as I say, if it is a really good project, they can try to negotiate, but you can decide to accept or not. And if you don't worry, you can find another blockchain foundation that won't take it because they really want your project. And if you tell them, we go away if you take equity, they will just give you a grant.
Okay. Just to summarize, like at Tenk Studio, you were basically helping companies in blockchain build the technical infrastructure. And then you started Fungible Strategy to basically help them with the business side of things as well. So securing grants, fundraising, and getting money to build MVPs and going forward. And basically looking at this project from a business perspective and not just like a technical project you are doing.
Yeah, it's a complementary service. Like both of them are actually complementary. Like for Tenk, we're definitely building the infrastructure, things that developers can use. So it's like really aimed at developers. Whereas Fungible Strategy is like the complementary service where you're very business focused. You're like, okay, you have this tech, which is very interesting. Now you need a viable business model. You need something viable for the long term, because when investors will put money in your project, or if they want to do it, they want to make sure that your project is viable. For blockchain foundations, for instance, before giving you a grant, they want to make sure that after you've used the grant, you'll be able to sustain the project, because it does not make sense to give money to a project that won't survive after the grant money is used, right? So that's why there needs to be a viable business model and sustainable one.
Can I ask how old are you?
22.
Okay, so wait, you are 22. Tell me one thing, when you are helping these projects, or for example, you do business consulting you do blockchain consulting at Fungible Strategy, right? So whenever we think of consultants, we're thinking about people Bain, McKinsey in suits. Like, being a young entrepreneur, does it hurt you or help you in another way? Because maybe like the entrepreneurs or founders you're dealing with are like 27, 28, and maybe even older. So how do you make sure cope up with that?
So first of all, I have a beard. No, I'm kidding, but it's true. It's a real question, because I can tell you that I have had some enters, like, people from other companies reaching out to me on LinkedIn saying, hey, we want to recruit you. And, it's always interesting because I'm young. And so I know what I'm able to do, but all of these enters, they think that since I'm young, I cannot do as much as like a 40-year-old consulting partner or whatever. But yeah, I agree. It's a real question. When I do consulting, I end up doing consulting with people that are much older than me. Sometimes they're young, but I can tell you that most of the time, like, they're around 40s. Right now I'm working with a guy, like, he's 40. He has like a big banking experience. It was like the director of a big bank in France, and he listens to me without any problem. Because the truth is, for such a topic, the age does not really matter. What matters is what you're able to deliver, right? So hopefully I have this track record of being able to, I would say, ship things. So with Tenk, I had my first partner was older than me. He trusted me. We've been able to build things. And then I always capitalize on what I did before to go and see new people and say, okay, I'm young, but you can trust me because I already did that. And if you don't, then we don't work together, but I'm going to find another client. Because I can tell you that if you go and post something on LinkedIn saying, hey, I can help you raise files, non-deleted files, you're going to receive many messages. And that's something I don't do. I know I don't have a form where people can just submit an application to be working with me as a client, right? I don't do it because I have this chance of being able to get introduced to new projects. And I can simply tell you that if one project tells me, okay, you're too young, because you're too young, I don't trust you enough, or we're going to drive the prices down, I'm going to say, no, I don't want to work with you because you need to respect me for what I'm able to deliver. Not about my age. It has nothing to do with that.
When we talk about any technology, people are more concerned about how can I make money off it. For example, if you talk about cryptocurrencies, people don't necessarily understand what cryptocurrency is, but they'll buy Bitcoin and any other coins like that. And with blockchain, how do we make sure that we can capitalize upon this opportunity without knowing much about it? For example, with AI, you can a lot of people now understand AI. You're trying to understand AI because of ChatGPT. So people are going on ChatGPT. You must have seen these prompts on LinkedIn where people are just asking, how can I make money to ChatGPT, and just trying different stuff. When it comes to blockchain, how can any like common man capitalize on this opportunity without knowing a lot about it?
Yeah, it's a complicated question. AI is much more accessible for sure.
Exactly.
You can directly go on OpenAI website and do whatever you want. And I think the adoption curve is also really fast. And then the evolution of the tech is wide as well. I mean, you can see 1 week to another, you end up with Auto GPT, it's like automatic prompt for ChatGPT, and it's crazy. For blockchain, it's much more complicated because you need to understand how the infrastructure works somehow to be able to do something out of it. But if you don't want to understand the tech, you can just go and like be a, I don't know, airdrop chaser, airdrop hunter. So you just like pay attention to new ecosystems that are going to launch. You try to get an airdrop. So an airdrop is like one of the first people to interact on the server Discord. Being an airdrop chaser, I think, is one of the easiest way to make money if you don't know anything. But I would say that if you really want to make money with blockchain, it's not just like being investing into meme coins and things like that. Like if you want to make money out of it, just participate in the evolution, like build stuff. I'm not a developer, but I still participate in the evolution of the tech because I'm able to drive a team that does it, right? And it's very important as well. So if you want to participate in this, I think the easiest way just to get acquainted with the tech. And it takes time, of course.
Yeah, I hope is like, is it true that it's like a freebie? For example, if there's like a new project coming on, I can basically join their Discord channel, and if I'm like the very like one of the very few people who joined it first, I get kind of freebies or basically these things because I was one like few of the people who were part of the community since the beginning, and maybe I can capitalize on that. But how do you find these Discord channels and things like that?
Just get curious. It's I mean, or you can just go on Twitter. There's some Twitter accounts that are specialized in that. I don't have the names on top of my mind, but you just type airdrop on Twitter and you'll find accounts that are specialized. But like, I think some of the biggest airdrops are the ones that you don't know about. Like for instance, I got an airdrop for Liquid Finance, which was like a project on Cardano, another blockchain. And it was like the equivalent of a 10K airdrop.
But how do you know that? Like, how do you?
Because I was interested in Cardano, so I was looking at early projects, and that's how I did it.
What advice do you have for young entrepreneurs who are maybe getting acquainted with blockchain or maybe starting out a venture?
It's just be curious, honestly, and don't hesitate to reach out to people that knows.
Okay.
Because, well, my LinkedIn is open. You can all send me questions, but you can do that with everyone. Like I receive messages every day. Sometimes I will answer because I believe it's worthy. Sometimes I don't have time. But honestly, this is a very open ecosystem. It's not an industry like others. People are very open. Maybe it's because it's an early industry. I don't know, but that's how things are. So just be curious. Reach out to projects, people that you think are interesting, and try it. Try it out. Okay.
So that was all from my side. Thank you very much for having this conversation and being here today on an early morning.
Thank you too for having me here. And as I said, like if anyone listening has questions, you can just get back to me.
Sure, fine. I'll plug your contact and everything in the description section so people can reach out to you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.